Yes, Sir Hairless here. Today we're back with a patron request. Thank you to Christopher for this one. This is Kevin Olusola and he is covering the song Down, originally by Marian Hill. I understand Kevin calls himself KO. Nice little reference here. I've never seen Kevin's solo work. I know him as the beatboxer of Pentatonix, and I know that he's an extremely versatile singer too through what I've seen him do with Pentatonix. This song Down, I didn't know the original. I've listened to it a number of times. It has 72 million views on YouTube, so it's a well-known song. It's got a quite catchy chorus melodic line. So a lot of d sounds in there, quite percussive in and of themselves. Overall, the song is definitely reliant on technological treatment. Quite simply, technology can achieve things that nature can't, that we as natural human beings aren't able to, such as rapid note changes, repeated notes really quickly, lagging effects like rewind effects, all these various things that you can do. Here are some clips of some of these. It's a very synthetic, unnatural overall feel to the music. It is quite catchy, I think. Although it's not really my cup of tea. It has grown on me a bit with each listen, but it's not something I'd choose to listen to. Overall, texturally, it's quite sparse. There are only ever so many layers at one time being heard. Kevin, I understand, is going to be a one-man army here, a fully solo work, so that's probably a reason he's chosen this song. I've seen him sing, I've seen him beatbox, I've seen him play cello, play saxophone. There's probably a lot more that he does as well. I imagine he'll be needing a loop pedal or something to that effect, so he can loop through musical segments that he's played and add onto them. So let's get straight into it. His performance is a bit longer than the original. I wonder why. Maybe he can get a bit more variety in there, add in some new ideas, some new sections. Let's find out.
Didn't even really wanna go, but if you get me out, you get a show. There's so many bodies on the floor, so baby, we should go and add some more. Are you down, diddy down, diddy down, diddy down, down, down. Down, diddy down, diddy down, diddy down, down, down. Everywhere I look are people's hands.
I like his voice.
Thrown up in the air to have them dance. Come on, baby, catch me if you can. I know you don't have any other plans. Are you down, diddy down, diddy down, diddy down, down, down. Down, diddy down, diddy down, diddy down, down, down. Are you...
Alright, let's do our first pause here. We've got some exciting beats to look forward to. I know him for his beatboxing, so yeah. A minute and a half without any beats, kind of like the original song, but I didn't know if he'd be changing it up that much. Alright, let's go over and discuss what we've just heard before carrying on. If you don't want to hear my analysis, go to the timestamp here. Okay, first things first, he is playing slightly higher in key. We can hear the difference versus the original. So we've gone from C to D. One other difference that we hear immediately, in the original, we get this phrase. That's played twice. The second time, though, is slightly different. If we listen to the last chord each time, first time, that's a minor chord, and then the second time, major chord. Kevin puts on the loop after just the first phrase, which means that we don't get first phrase minor, second phrase major. There's not going to be no alteration because that's looping through and through. Which do we get though? Does he go for major or minor? Well, neither. He, quite cleverly I think, opts for the open fifth. There's no third note to determine if we're major happy or minor, sad. It's harmonically ambiguous. If he had chosen major or minor, happy or sad, then it would be this incessant repetition of that mood. Then he introduces the second part we hear, another cello part played by himself obviously, and it syncopates really nicely with the first phrase. So I think that gives this energy. Yeah, nice rhythms. So this plays for a bit, and then that second part, it then exits as his voice enters. And I said it before, but yeah, I love his voice. He's got such a smooth tone. We'll notice that he uses no vibrato, so no voice wobbles. I feel it suits the song better.
Didn't even really wanna go, but if you get me out, you get a show.
I always say it's harder to sing perfectly in tune without vibrato, because the vibrato, the wobbling, it helps to mask small inaccuracies you might make with pitch. It's why with a cappella singing, when a group successfully uses no vibrato altogether, at certain points the harmonies seem crazy. We get harmonics flying all over the place, particularly with, for example, barbershop singing. As we know, Kevin's a bit of a musical beast, and I'm told he has perfect pitch too, which will help with being perfectly in tune. We do get a smidgen of vibrato on down.
Down, diddy, down.
Every word is down, so let me rephrase. The second down, diddy, down, on that note. Very short.
Down, diddy, down.
So it's short-lived. And then he goes back to the flatter, straighter sound.
Down, down, down.
And we hear on that last note, there's a bit of air coming through with the sound as well. It's quite a pure sound, I find. It's a nice tone he has, which matches well with the cello. If you've seen my recent videos, such as my last pentatonics reaction, Dancing on My Own, where the cello fills in for Avi, I mentioned the cello is often considered to be the most similar to the human voice of all the instruments in terms of timbre. It makes for a good instrument to duet with if you're singing. We then get the phrase repeated. Again, he chooses the same note, down, down, to have a smidgen of vibrato on there.
Down, diddy, down, diddy, down.
And he actually lifts up above the note slightly, so it's almost like an actual pitch alteration. It shows how meticulously he's thought out every single note and decision. And then finally, just before we carry on, what do we get next? It's our good friend, the hemiola.
Diddy, down, down, down.
So instead of the strong beats, cha, 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 we now get 3 in that place. Cha, cha, cha.
Diddy, down, down, down.
If we compare to last time,
Down, diddy, down, down, down.
I like how the hemiola this time round adds just that bit more rhythmic energy against the cello, the only 2 parts sounding. All right, let's carry on. So we get the beat coming in now. I mean, it's Kevin. I'm sure he's going to do something amazing with it.
Are you? You know we can put them all to shame. Now isn't the time to play it safe? Isn't this the reason that you came? So baby, don't you let it go to waste. Are you down, diddy, down, diddy, down, diddy, down, down, down?
Hemiola again.
Down, diddy, down, diddy, down, diddy, down, down, down.
No hemiola.
Every single thing is feeling right. Started as a quiet Friday night. I don't really think that we should fight this. What if we don't stop until it's right? Are you down, diddy, down, diddy, down, diddy, down, down, down? Down, diddy, down, diddy, down, diddy, down, down, down. Are you?
All right, second pause point, I think. I like how he's making clear sections here. Calmer, beat, falsetto, not, but we'll go over and discuss. So just as before, when the cello exited and the vocals came in, now it's reversed. The vocals exit and then the cello comes back in.
Are you?
And when I say cello, I mean the second cello part. Alright, so then we get his beatboxing abilities. Arguably what made him as famous as he is today. I know he had a YouTube channel before Pentatonics, but it was the beatboxing that probably attracted him to Pentatonix. So it's great to hear it like this. I don't think I've ever really heard his beatboxing exposed that much for such a prolonged period of time. I don't really know where to begin. It's just rapid, rhythmic relentlessness. I'd love to know how much thought from him goes into each sound every millisecond, or if it just kind of comes naturally and he goes with it, such as the inhale that we hear. The only way I can describe is when it comes is you'll hear this in the cello and it comes on that top note like a kind of sound.
Are you?
Or maybe it's an exhale, who knows. But just that inhale or exhale, considering how quick all the other parts are moving, that's significantly longer. Or slower, you can even think of it as. And then here as well, we get this kind of type thing. I'm not a beatboxer. The syncopations, they're so natural, coupled with the change of the vowel sounds, and then it's just very, very energetic. I've used the words energy or energetic a few times now. I'm doing that on purpose because I feel there's a lot of energy, which is strange because the music at its core is the opposite. What I mean by that, harmonically speaking, there's not much going on at all. I mean, that's the song itself, especially when you're one person looping by yourself. You have to repeat one thing over and over, so you're naturally very restricted. The harmonic progression, it's 4 chords. And Kevin's last cello is missing that third. Over and over, this falling, sinking motion. And coupled with the fact that there is no major and minor alternation, instead we get the open fifth. Harmonically ambiguous. It creates a sort of dragging feeling overall quite naturally. This makes Kevin's other decisions, especially regarding the beat, much more exaggerated. That piano note that we hear, what a delicate placement of his finger on that top D. At first hearing that, you might think it's a bit strange, but it does feature in the original song. Let me find it. So we hear this note. It comes on an offbeat, so it's a bit unexpected, and because of that, I'm then expecting to hear it again, maybe a bit more frequently. So it's keeping me expecting something, and therefore I'm listening more, I'm much more engaged. I'm thinking, when's it coming, when's it coming? It doesn't come for ages, but then suddenly it does come. So 20 seconds later, then it comes quite unexpectedly.
Every single thing is feeling right. Started as a quiet Friday night.
And then more frequently, with his move into his higher head voice. Smart move, Mr. Kevin, I concede. And then just to go back a bit from there actually, we notice that he's becoming much freer with the melody, both melodically and rhythmically. It's a verse repetition, and often on repetitions we see some changes here and there. For example, the 2 notes that he sings on the word came.
And that you came, so
And another example later on Till It's Light.
what if we don't stop until it's light?
I like that one. From the rhythmic side of things, if we listen on Go To Waste, we get some rhythmic augmentation, so the notes are slightly longer in length.
Baby, don't you let it go to waste.
Just slightly. A bit more tempo rubato, which literally translated means robbed time, so you can slow up, speed down as you wish. Sorry, slow down, speed up. And then that change to his head voice, airy head voice. I remember the first time I ever heard him sing that with Pentatonix.
Every single thing is feeling right. Started as a quiet Friday night.
Yeah, very cool, and he's very, very pitch accurate. Here, for example.
I don't really think that we should fight.
Another small thing in that context of the melody is it's actually more difficult than it sounds. Alright, let's carry on from where we got to.
Are you?
So I'm gonna watch that again. Yeah, the guy is music, isn't he? I can only imagine how much fun you'd have with a setup like this. You could just sit there all day just making music. So he sampled the previous beatboxing section, phrase, whatever you want to call it. So he brings that in on the loop, and then he manually is adding to that using the, I don't know, what do you call that, a drum machine? To get even more beats in there. And when he's using his hand, it could be a good exercise if you want to try and distinguish what beat is coming from where. Look at his hands and see which beat it matches up with. For example, his left hand, that's quite a good one. The kind of bass drum sound. Alright, so the beats, the music's intrinsic rhythmic driving force is now definitely the focal point. He's shifting the focus from the cello to his voice to the beats. We got this bit, and it's always interesting when this happens with music. Everything's removed except for some sort of beat. Musically, I think doing this, it can harm the musical flow. Obviously, it depends on the musical context, what the song is, at what point in the song it comes. Just after this, he changes the overall sound to a much more human, natural feel. The breath's very obviously done by a biological human as opposed to a machine. And then, I guess the next talking point, it's the cello coming in. Very, very electric cello, isn't it? If you close your eyes, it almost sounds like an electric guitar, and it also sounds quite improvisatory. I wouldn't be surprised if he's improvising, but equally he might not be. When he came in, at first I thought he'd done a harmonic shift, so changed key. But the notes that he uses are of the D minor scale, and we're in D minor overall. I think this cello segment here is a cool segment to add in, and it also explains why this performance is longer than the original song. It's certainly unique, especially this bit. But yeah, overall you can just see how great of a musician he is. I'd just love for him to get some saxophone in there as well. You know, to add in some groove, I think that would be cool. But it's probably not the best fit for this song. And yeah, so we get this quite unsettling glissando slide up, and then a nice re-entry back to the regular repeated motif. And that's where we got to. We're actually quite close to the end, so let's carry on. So many layers. Not so many layers there at the end. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool, isn't it? I wonder how much music him or other musicians they've made like this just for fun or playing around that is never released, you know, that never sees the light of day. I don't have too much more to say, but let's go over a few final points. Where we carried on, he lets out this sort of anguished cry and then goes straight into a hemi-ola. I mention hemiolas so much these days. You're all going to be experts at recognizing them in everyday life or music. So now we have the live cello line, and I think it works really well because we're hearing the other two cello lines from the start. So we have three cello parts playing with each other in similar ranges. We get cross rhythms, great melodic partnership. Yeah, it's very well arranged and thought out, especially with what follows, which is that that calmer ending, taking us back to where things began. There's so much looping going on, I guess you could just loop straight back to the beginning from there. The never-ending cycle of Kevin's down. Alright, let's leave that one there. Overall, very, very cool to see, and you know, I'm a big fan of Kevin. Every time I see him in pentatonics, the stuff he's capable of. I know he's essentially a genius, isn't he? Music is in his blood for sure. So seeing someone do that is great to see. The song itself, as I said in the intro, I wasn't too keen on the original song. Don't hate it, just wouldn't choose to listen to it. So that does obviously play a part in my overall view of this particular song, but it doesn't take away from Kevin's performance himself and the arrangement and everything that he did with it. Overall, yeah, I think really, really cool. Thank you again for this request, and thanks to everyone for watching as always. Would appreciate a like and subscribe. Comment down below other things you'd like me to react to in the future. If you enjoy my content, want to support me, join the community, vote on future polls, you can do so by joining the Patreon or YouTube memberships linked below, and I will see you next time.